We are in the middle of a survival horror renaissance. Modern remakes are breathing life into what, for a time, seemed to be a dying genre. We saw Resident Evil set the bar for what a modern survival horror game could be. Dead Space showed that we could take aspects of already great games and make them even better. And we have Alan Wake 2, which completely revolutionized the genre by somehow including a musical number. And it worked. Honestly, it almost feels like modern survival horror can't miss. But if that's the case, why am I so concerned about the Silent Hill 2 remake? Now, my concerns don't come from the source material. I mean, Silent Hill 2 is one of the most terrifying games ever made. The foggy atmosphere is oppressive, the monsters are hideous and memorable, and the sound design is a masterclass in psychological horror. Literally everything about this game is terrifying, even the janky-ass combat controls. But you know what? It's still part of the charm. You see, survival horror is a genre built on limitations. Characters have limited movement, environments have limited visibility, and even players are forced to constantly manage a limited inventory. There is always something new to keep you on edge and stressed out. Good survival horror is the equivalent of putting on a set of handcuffs and jumping into a lake. You're always just a few seconds away from drowning, just barely able to pull through in the end. And, well, at its worst, you're soft-locked in a bathroom as Mr. X punches you in the face. We've all been there. The original Silent Hill was able to walk this line to a T. Anytime I'd feel overwhelmed or stuck, all of a sudden, boom, I'd make progress and somehow overcome another dire situation. It was this type of struggle to achieve gameplay that made these games so much absolute fun and also so absolutely terrifying. This is something that a lot of modern horror games are missing. The majority of horror games these days seem to stereotype horror as dark hallways and scary visuals, but Silent Hill was so much more than that. It had combat that allowed you to defend yourself, but was just restricted enough that you could never really feel overpowered. And even resources that you're collecting throughout the entire game, but they're spread out just perfectly so that you're always feeling on the verge of needing just a little bit more. It was a well-balanced machine that forced you to scrape and claw your way through its oppressive environment, holding your breath, squeezing your sweat-drenched controller, and dreading the next horrifying encounter. So if you can't tell, I kind of love Silent Hill 2. And honestly, I think it's a blueprint for what survival horror should and can be. So you might be asking yourself, why am I so concerned about the remake? Well, other than Konami's stellar record as of late. My concerns actually have more to do with the team that's developing the game. Bloober Team, the team behind Layers of Fear, Blair Witch, The Medium. It's quite a track record of horror games. I mean, honestly, Layers of Fear brought in an entire new era of horror, and The Medium was a cinematic horror masterpiece. But let's be honest, none of those games were Silent Hill. In my opinion, those games were more of the stereotype of horror, kind of a haunted house that you walk through and think, ooh, that was spooky, but not really anything more than that. Those games lack any kind of substantial combat system, and they've shown no real example of resource management. The tension in those games are really built through the atmosphere and the cinematic set pieces rather than the moment-to-moment gameplay. In a sense, these Bloober Team games consist of really just walking from one set piece to the next, but a true Silent Hill experience is so much more than that. Now, I am very excited that the original Silent Hill 2 composer and lead concept designer are both going to be involved in the remake, but as of right now, there's zero word of any of the lead programmers or game designers being involved at all. And with Team Silent being disbanded back in 2005, the hope of them being involved or giving any kind of feedback is pretty much non-existent. This is leaving the gameplay side of things in the hand of a new studio that has no real experience designing or balancing any kind of survival horror experience. That doesn't leave me super optimistic. But don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to be all doom and gloom. There is definitely a few things to be optimistic about. There is some light at the end of the tunnel, okay? It's alright. I mean, what little of the game has been shown to this point does look impressive. The visuals are stunning, the atmosphere is dreary, the fog is extra foggy. So if Bloober Team can stay just true enough to the original gameplay to make it feel like the original, just updated and playable on modern consoles, that's a win. And I would be happy to be proven wrong. And who knows, maybe they'll revolutionize something in the gameplay that will be even better than what we could have possibly imagined. A certain musical number comes to mind. Either way, until then, I'm gonna try and stay naively optimistic, at least until proven otherwise. Until then, we'll all just have to be a little bit more like James Sutherland, asking ourselves, is the game that we love truly out there, waiting for us, or did it actually die a long time ago? Only time will tell.